Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about how I make my stop motion animations. This is coming from a request from a fan. More or less he was a fan first, then became my friend, okay. Anyways, I've been working with stop motion for a long time. Amateur level, okay, very amateur level. This video will be in two parts. First we'll be talking about the hardware that you might need. Most of them will be just advice, okay? If you find something better, then go for it. I was working with stop motion on an amateur level with a video camera when I was a teenager, which was about a decade and a half or more ago, okay? So having this digital camera is a very big step for me, and that's one of the things. That's why I've been doing a lot of stop motions recently, because of this really nice camera I got my hands on, which is my wife's. My wife has been very nice lending me this camera. Okay, so first thing to do stop motion animation, you need a camera of some sort. You could use a digital camera, or if you have a cell phone. This is my cell phone. I have made some stop motions using a cell phone. It works to some degree. It depends on exactly what you want to shoot and how many frames you want to shoot with. Another thing I recommend is using a tripod. This is a tripod I got for $14. I'm sure you can find tripods that are cheaper, and of course there are tripods that are much more expensive. Okay. Another thing is, as you see, this video is a little dark because what's important is to have a light. Now I have a light behind me, and also you might want to have a light here. I studied television production in university. Okay, that was a while back as well. They had something called a three-point light system, which is you have a light over here in the side. You got a background light, you got the front light, okay? People on TV sets, they're usually very hot, okay, because all the lights that are shining onto them, okay? But with that said, I only usually use two lights, okay? These are all advice. These are all things I have found. One thing that I do insist on is, you see this? This is a remote control. This has changed the way I've done stop motion in forever. This is a monumental step. The reason is, for example, if when I do stop motion with a cell phone, taking a picture, when you press a button to take a picture, you're actually physically moving the camera. Okay, when you actually have to touch the camera to take a picture, you move it. Regardless if you intend to or not, you're moving it at a centigram, okay? It's not a centigram, I'm sorry, a centimeter, sorry. My earlier videos just had this bouncing up and down video, and that was because, unintentionally pressing the button once, and then maybe not realizing that you're pressing it again. So it does, if you don't have, having a tripod does help, but if you don't have a remote control where you can, remotely handle your camera, that works out. If you don't have it, then you got this jumpy thing. If you do have a jumpy thing, if you don't have a remote, sometimes in that case, less frames are better. If you look at my stop motion of Honey Sting and Kamen Rider that I made a year ago, I use that. I made that with my cell phone. There's not that many frames in that. Okay, I think I used like a total of 10 frames of the guys reaching for their weapons, but that was about it. Everything else is more or less still shots. Okay, and I animate the CG of Honey Sting walking around. Okay. And that I'll get to the software later because I use a teddy bear. The teddy bear motion was from a software. Okay, so for the hardware, again, the only thing I really recommend is if you get a camera, see if you can get a remote handling of it. A tripod is nice. I've used tripods. I haven't used tripods. Tripods allows different angles, and that's one thing that's really nice. I mean, you can have a tilted angle, and you don't have to really worry about it sliding down. So if you have like a couple boxes of tissues or whatever, that might work for one angle of a shot, but if you try to do an artistic shot or something like that, it doesn't quite work well. Alright, and a light. Of course, if it's, some of the bigger internet stars like the CinemaStop, he has commented to them on one of his earlier films, earlier cinema reviews. He didn't use a proper lighting system, and it was kind of dark. And that's something you kind of learn, something you pick up, okay? You probably can see my shadow in the background now because I am using one light source, and that's behind me, okay? I'm doing this intentionally to show you that if you have a second light going on the side, or even behind, it adds a lot more character depth. It's something you could experiment with. And if you really are serious about it, maybe you can, if you go to university, you can take a television production course and learn more about that. It's been years since I studied that, but it's something I kind of remember from that. Alright, next we're going to go on to the software. Alright, on to that.
Okay, I'm going to continue on with the stop motion tutorial. Again, these are all like advice, tips, whatever, because I'm sure you will develop your own style if you're really interested in stop motion animation. Previously I discussed things that you want to use for hardware, actual things such as a camera. Any camera is more or less okay. Even if it's a pixelated picture, you can still work with it if you're clever enough, or if you just don't have the money. Okay, next you need to work on sound. Audacity. That works the best for me, okay? I'm sure Audacity is free and it does its job, okay? I mean, I'm sure you can spend money and buy a more expensive software for sound, but for an amateur stop motion animation, you don't really want too much. I mean, this is pretty decent, okay? Alright, now what you need to do is, once you get all these pictures, you need to organize them to some degree. Once you got them in your file, and you need to show them somehow. There's many different different programs out there. The program I use the most is Anime Studio, okay? Don't mind this Anime Studio Pro. Just any Anime Studio is what I enjoy using. I enjoy because not only can you do stop motion, but you can also add characters or things jumping around. As I mentioned, that Honey Sting video with Wizard, how we were able to have teddy bears fly around. Okay, that works for that. For pictures per frame, or per second, take a look at this. Like, each second is about 24 frames, okay? Each second is 24 frames. What does that mean? And as you see, you can have these dots here, okay? As you can see, if you have all the dots connected together, it's this real smooth motion. But if your motion is not smooth, if you did not capture all the scenes that were smoothly taken, because you do have to move the figures a little bit at a time if you want a smooth motion. This is something I'm working on right now, by the way. Probably see in a few days. Alright. So if you have like choppy animation, let's take it to the end. For example, if it's kind of choppy, you might think it's really smooth, but when you play it together like so, it kind of comes off kind of confusing. And if that's what you want, that works. I mean, here I wanted a confusion kind of state, okay? But sometimes you need to have a lot of space between each frame so you can understand what's going on between each thing. Sometimes it pays to have an extra space, so don't think that you gotta fill each second up with 24 pictures. Sometimes you might want to have just a few frames, just still shots of the people as if they're talking, okay? There are a lot of different, There's blue screen, which I haven't even tried yet, and there's a lot of different techniques. I'm kind of hungry, to be honest, but I'm going to be making my dinner right after this video. There's a lot of techniques to make stop motion. Okay, this is what I do. I'm sure you'll probably find your own way if you're interested in stop motion. Anyways, yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask on the comment box below or a message, okay? Thank you for your time.